Hello guys, how are you? It is nice to see you 8th graders all together here in this section of inquiry of 8th grade. Today we will have a review of what is a primary and a secondary source, and then we will play a Kahoot to know. Hello Vicky, hello Marcelo. And then we will play your favorite, we will play a Kahoot to know how much do you know about the primary and the secondary sources, okay? Hello Bernardo, hello Dani, hello Jose Tomás, hello. Okay, hello Alonso, how are you? Okay, let's start first. Let me talk to you about the general idea. You like a Kahoot? Okay, stay here and you will play. The general idea of the primary and the secondary sources. The primary sources are used to provide raw information or first-hand evidence, and it gives you direct access to the sources or to the subject that you are researching. And the secondary sources give you second-hand information, and it is used to describe, to interpret, or to synthesize primary sources. A primary source is anything that gives you direct evidence about the people, about the events, about everything that you are researching. Primary sources help you it will also be the main object of your analysis. If you're researching the past, for example, you will not have, unless you have a time machine, you will not have direct access to this information. So you need primary sources that were produced at that time by participants of that time or witnesses. For example, letters, photographs, or newspapers. An example of this that we were talking about Tenochtitlan. The letters of Cortés are a primary source because they are made at the same time that the event is happening. If you are researching the past, if you are researching something current or something fresh, your primary sources can either be qualitative or quantitative, and you can collect it yourself by making interviews or surveys or experiments, or you can use sources produced by people who are involved in this topic. For example, official documents or media text. Hello Anna, how are you? Tomás, I usually call you Tomás. I don't know why I told you Jose. I'm sorry, the climate change is affecting me. Oscar. Yes. I will give you some examples to... No, down. Más. I will give you some examples, más. Perdón, I'm sorry. Production is not awake. Yes, in that. For example, in history, the primary sources, when you want to talk about a field of history, the primary sources could be letters, could be diaries, photographs or videos, or official documents of this historical event. Or it could be also physical object. I don't know, an example will be like all the lamps that they were made in the World War II. Those are physical objects that you can use a primary source. If you want to talk about art and literature, the primary sources could be novels, could be poems, could be paintings, or art installation, or films, or performances. If you want to talk, or if you are interested in the field of social studies, you can use interview transcripts, you can use recording of speeches, you can use newspapers or magazines, and also in these social studies, you can use social media posts, because you're talking about social studies, you're talking about the society. So you need to know what is happening right now in the society. And if you're interested in laws and politics, you can use court records, legal text. You can use government documents as a primary source. And the last one, if you are interested in the science field, you can use empirical studies or statistical data as a primary source. Yes, Tomas, Oscar is the one who's behind the production. As a secondary source is anything that describes, that interpreters, evaluates, or analyzes information from primary resource. The secondary source is just a backup from the primary sources. The common examples are like books or articles or documentaries that synthesize information of certain topic. It also could be descriptions of an artistic work if we talk about the art fields, for example. Also the encyclopedias and textbooks that summarize information or ideas. And for last, the reviews and essays that evaluate or interpret something. When you use a secondary source, it is usually not to analyze it directly because it will probably test its arguments against new evidence. As I told you before, we need to have more sources to prove this. So it is important to that you formulate your own opinion about all the sources that you research. How to tell if a source is primary or a secondary source? You need to ask you three important questions to determine if it's a primary or a secondary source. For example, does this source come from someone directly involved in the events that you are studying or you are researching? If the answer is yes, well, this is a primary source. Or if it's from another research, this will be a secondary source. Or if you are interested in analyzing the source itself, it will be a primary resource. Or if it's only using it for background information, as I told you before, this is a secondary source. Or you can ask yourself, does this source provide original information? If the answer is yes, this will be a primary source. Or if the source has a comment upon information from another sources, this will be a secondary source. Which source is better? Well, it has two sides. First, when you talk about primary sources, you need to talk about the foundation of the original research. And the primary resource allows you to make new discoveries by yourself because you are in the field searching, and also gives you credible evidence for your arguments, for the arguments that you are, approving. And it gives you information, first-hand information about one certain topic. So this is the good side of the primary sources. If you don't use primary sources, your research may be considered like unoriginal or unreliable because it doesn't have first-hand information. And in the case of the secondary sources, they often synthesize a large number of primary sources. So it is helpful for you because if you go to the field and do the research and do the interviews, it will be very time-consuming for you to gather all this information by yourself. So the secondary sources allow you to gain background information on the topic. It is also helps you to support your arguments with another research who already valid. And it also helps you to gather information from primary sources that you can access directly. For example, the private letters of someone or physical documents located elsewhere. When you conduct, and this is very important, when you conduct a research, either a primary or secondary sources, it is super important to seek the original source and cite it. Because as you know, my kids, this could be considered plagiarism. And that is a felony. And it is super important to follow the rule. Maybe you as a kid think that plagiarism is only like by They didn't anything to me. But in the real world, like in the adult world, plagiarism can take you to jail. So be careful with this information. Be careful when you are searching sources. Now, the moment that you're waiting for. Today we will play Kahoot about the primary and secondary sources. Are you ready? If you're ready, tell yes. If you're ready, scream as Oscar is going to scream. If you're ready, you can scream like that. Yes, Tomas, it's Oscar. It's Oscar, the one that it's behind the cameras. You okay, guys, we will play a Kahoot. Get ready. Your code will be there in a moment. Okay. And you can see the code on your screen. Okay. There's the code. The code is 2568368. As you can see on your screen, there's the code in there. Michelle is already there. Hello, hello, Michelle. Daniela. Fernando, it's there. Ana, Victoria, Juni, Valeria, B, Caro, Nano, Katia, Karim, it's there. Suri, okay, are you having problems to enter to the Kahoot, or can we start now? Okay, I will wait. Don't worry, don't worry. 2568368. We have Tomas, we have Marcelo. $25,68368 is the code. Luis Gerardo is here. Carlos. So can I start now, or I should wait a little bit more? Andy, it's there. Okay, two more minutes and we can start do this. Or are you ready? Can I start now? I will start. Let's do this, guys. Question number 1. A play showing how Benjamin Franklin flew a kite during a lightning storm. This is a primary or a secondary source. A play showing how Benjamin Franklin flew a kite during a lightning storm. Follow the Kahoot. Don't wait for the transmission, because if you wait, you will not have time to answer it. Okay, so follow your Kahoot. Follow the Kahoot on your app and my voice. And there is the first one. Very good, Andy. A short story describing Edison and Tesla's battle over electricity. This is a primary or a secondary source. I'll see, if you follow the Kahoot, it's better. That was a secondary source, guys. A short story. A short story. This is a letter. Well, it's not a letter, it's a short story. Thomas goes to the first place, and then Carlos is next. Andrea, you're in the first place. What is happening right now? Anne Frank's diary describing her life during World War II. Anne Frank's diary. This is a primary or secondary source. Anne Frank directly write this. That is correct. This is a primary source because it's Anne Frank's diary, personal diary. Carlos goes to the first place, Daniela in the second, Luis Gerardo in the third. Tomas, you go to the fourth place. What is happening there? A cartoon showing how Pocahontas meet John Smith. This is a primary or a secondary source? It's a cartoon. That is correct. This is a secondary source because it's not a letter. It's not an interview with Pocahontas on John Smith. So this is a secondary source. Fernando goes to the second place, Luis Gerardo in the third, Victoria ups into the fourth place. Very good. Suri goes to the fifth place. Let's go to the number 5. A textbook describing the civil rights movement. A textbook. This is a primary or a secondary source? It's a secondary source because those aren't interviews, those aren't letters. That means they could be a primary source. Carlos goes to the first place. Don't worry, Hernan, don't worry, you can still enter. Oh, well, I think so, because of the code. Question number 6. A news report about the opening of a power plant. A news report. This is a primary or a secondary source? Hernan, you can still join us. 2568368 is the code. This is a primary source. It's a news report. It's something that comes to the first hand. Let's go to question number 7. And Tomas stays in the first place, I think. Question number 7. A scientist explaining what it's like for Buzz Aldrin to walk on the moon. This is a primary or a secondary source? This is a secondary resource because it is an expert talking about something that is happening in the past. So this couldn't be a primary source. And Victoria goes to the first place, Anna in the second place, Tomas, you go into the third place. What is happening with you? Let's go to the 8, question number 8. A YouTube video describing how the pyramids were built. Correct. This is a secondary resource. It's a YouTube video about something that is happening in the past. Very good. Let's see who's in the first place now. Victoria stays in the first place. Second place is Ana. Third place Daniela. Fourth place Carlos. And fifth place Suri. Let's go to the question number 9. An interview with Alexander Graham Bell about how he invented the telephone. An interview with Alexander Graham Bell. Is this a primary or a secondary source? Correct. This is a direct information about the one and only Alexander Graham Bell. So it's a primary source. And Anna is on fire. Victoria is in the first place. Daniela in the second place. Carlos third place. Fourth. A radio broadcast from the day the Soviet Union launched the satellite Sputnik. This is a primary or a secondary source? A radio broadcast, okay? A broadcast. This is a primary source. It is happening at the same moment that the Soviet Union were releasing Sputnik. So this is a primary source. Let's see. Victoria stays in the first place. Daniela in the second. Ana still on fire. Then we have Katia and Luis Gerardo. Question 11. An autobiography about the fourth person, the President Ronald Reagan. Autobiography. This is a primary or secondary? Correct. This is a primary source. It's an autobiography. It's written by the Ronald Reagan himself. Let's see who's in the first place. Victoria stays in the first place. Then Daniela. Ana still on fire. And we have Katia. And then we have Michelle. Very good, guys. Question number 12. A book describing Christopher Columbus sailing to America. This is a primary or secondary? This is not an interview. This is not a broadcast. It's a book. Very good. This is secondary source. It's not first-hand sources. So this could not be a primary source. Victoria stays in the first place. Daniela stays at the second place. And Ana still on fire. Question number 13. An artist painting of what cowboy's life was probably like. This is not a cowboy. It's just a painting of a person who thinks how was the life of a cowboy. It is correct. It is a secondary source. It's the idea of someone who thinks how was the life of a cowboy. Victoria stays in the first place. Daniela stays at the second. And Ana still on fire. Katia stays in the fourth. And Michelle stays in the fifth. A journal by a cowboy about cattle drives from Texas to Kansas. A journal. A journal could be a diary. So this is a primary or a secondary? It is a primary. It's a journal written by a cowboy himself. So this is a primary source. Michelle goes one place and stays in the fourth place. Victoria, Daniela, and Ana stays the same. Ana still on fire. 15 of 15, the United States Constitution. Is this a primary or this is a secondary source? What is it? What is it? It's a primary. It's a primary source because the United States Constitution was redacted by the people who was in there. So let's see the results. Let's see the podium. In the third place, with 10 out of 15, we have Daniela. In the second place, we have Ana. And in the first place, we have Victoria. Yay! With 12 out of 15. And Ana in the second place with 12 out of 15 too. And in the fourth place, we have Michelle. And in the fifth place, I didn't solve, but I think it was Ana. So very good, guys. Very, very good. You are seeing the results in there. Victoria in the first place. Katia was in the fifth place. How you like this Kahoot? Do you like more Kahoots in our history class? Because if you like Kahoots and you learn something from Kahoot, we can play some Kahoots in our history class. I think Alonso will be happy to do that. Yes, says Daniela, more Kahoots. Okay, I will play. We will play more Kahoots in the history class, don't worry. Guys, that will be all for today's class. I hope you have fun. I did have fun. Of course, say Thomas. Sixth grade B, I will see you later. Remember, today we will start the presentation of your summative, so be ready to present. I learn and understand more with the Kahoot. Very good, Suri. Bernardo Ivan. Of course, my horse indeed. So, I will see you sixth grade B. No, I'm sorry, sixth grade. 8th grade B, I will see you at 12 o'clock with your summative, the presentation of your summatives. And 8th grade A, I will see you tomorrow. Okay, so get ready and I will see you later. Bye.